Welcome back to the show. Now in our top national news, after months of wrangling and last-minute drama, the Lok Sabha today passed the nuclear liability bill by a voice vote. The government agreed to amendment moves by the BJP and the left to drop the controversial word intent. The Prime Minister, who even staked his own government at the nuclear deal, denied American pressure, saying that he had been accused of this before.
I wish to state categorically that this bill completes in a way our journey to end the nuclear apartheid which the world had imposed on India in the year 1920. To say that this is being done to promote American interests, to help American corporations, I think is far from being the truth.
However, the PM's word failed to impress the BJP. The BJP's Jaswant Singh, however, said that the government was being forced by the US to pass the bill before Barack Obama's visit in November.
Because its origin and the manner in which the government hustled the committee to finish its work, it created great doubts in our mind. Why are you hustling? Why are you hustling the committee? Why are you hustling the parliament? Why are you hustling the entire issue, which is otherwise a very important issue?
Now, taking a step away from national politics, if some investment advisors are to be believed, gold and equities are passé, and it's art that is in vogue. With increasing interest in this new asset class, the lines between commerce and art are beginning to blur, with the returns in this segment looking very impressive. Take a look at art from a very different perspective. A conversation about investments usually begins with gold, stock markets, or for those eyeing safe returns, perhaps a few fixed deposits. But the trends are changing. The latest entrant in the battle for maximum returns is an unlikely contender, art. In all its forms, ranging from sculptures, paintings to pictures, it has managed to catch the attention of the average investor.
And it has developed especially over the last 10 years where people began to appreciate it, and as more people began to buy it, the prices went up and the secondary market developed. The moment there's a secondary market develops, then there is a value to it, and the moment there is a value, it becomes a kind of investment or an asset.
Driven by cases of immense value appreciation, an increasing number of wealth managers and brokers are beginning to advise art as the next big bet.
I would say only some art has doubled and tripled and become 1,000 times. I mean, there are paintings that I've bought at 1,000 rupees that are now worth 25 lakhs, and there are paintings that people have bought in the 60s when I was just about born, when they paid 2,000 rupees for a Hussain, which is now 20 lakhs or 2 crores.
Experts of the trade advise, just like the share market where it is important to know about the companies, in art, it is important to know about the artists and the genre to avoid being conned.
They run the risk of buying the wrong art, they run the risk of paying too much, they run the risk of buying a fake, they run many risks. So that's why it's not advisable to go on it on your own. I see 3 Ravi Verma fakes a month.
With an increasing number of investors now playing smart with art, this new trend is all set to evolve into an investment connoisseur's delight. In Chennai, this is Ashmit Kumar for NDTV Hindu. Moving on to sports now, and in today's do-or-die match, Virendra Sehwag and some superb fast bowling by Indian seamers put India into the Tri-Series final as New Zealand caved in under pressure. Praveen Kumar and Ashish Nehra made life difficult for Kiwi batsmen as they lost top 3 batsmen order wickets for the just 14 runs. Praveen Kumar gave India its first breakthrough by dislodging Martin Guptill for a duck. Just the right start which India needed. And earlier in the game, Virendra Sehwag scored a brilliant century even as India lost early wickets. New Zealand were clearly defeated by 105 runs. And staying with cricket now, the Indian captain MS Dhoni has hit out after Wasim Akram, who called Team India softies and said they don't believe in working hard. Dhoni said you can't judge the team based on a few matches and that the clever comments were not needed.
Well, I don't know about what Wasim Akram said, but for me what's important is how the team is shaping up. And if we talk about the team being softies, if you see their performances, they've done really well in adverse situations and conditions, whether it's the Australian Tour or the T20 World Cup or some of the other tournaments, where we were not at our best, even the Asia Cup we played with all the youngsters. So I don't think, you should be clever enough to just make a statement based on 3 games or 4 games. It's the overall picture that you set. we're just on the back foot right now with the conditions maybe, but these are the guys who will ultimately be part of the Indian cricket team now or sometime later.
But Wasim Akram later clarified that he had nothing personal against either the captain Dhoni or Team India, and that his remarks were taken out of context.
I'll say to Dhoni, he's doing a great job. He's leading from the front. I'm there to help. I'm there to help the youngsters. And the idea was to tell the youngsters, the bowlers only, nothing to do with the Indian side, the bowlers, that they should come back to basics, and then they can play for India for 10 to 15 years, all these young bowlers, and India can be, again, consistently number one side for next 5 to 6 years.
Right.
Now here's one IPL you may not have heard of, the Icelandic Premier League. One club from the league has everyone glued to YouTube because they've come up with the most innovative football celebrations perhaps ever in the footballing history.
This team might only be 6th in the Icelandic Premier League, but they sure are number 1 when it comes to goal celebrations. Check out this one, called the Human Bicycle. We think they got the idea after technology failed them. Iceland, with a population of just over 3 lakh, has fishing as one of its main industries. So the boys from the club that we won't attempt pronouncing had to do this takeoff. Now don't be fooled by the music underlay from YouTube. This is a carefully choreographed replay of Sylvester Stallone from his movie Rambo. But the best of the lot is surely this one. The goal scorer becomes an expecting mother and the teammates the doctors. And they all say it's a ball. Now it's up to the team to deliver more such hits.
Now, moving on from some wacky stuff on the field to some wacky stuff on the screen. If you are a fan of James Cameron's Avatar, you should look out for this re-release with added footage. So before Cameron takes moviegoers deep beneath the Pandoran Sea, he hopes they'll go for an extended tour of the fictional planet that he introduced in Avatar. Avatar's special edition includes 9 minutes of new footage, and the movie now opens in 3D theaters worldwide on Friday. The scenes were removed from the initial release because Cameron was worried about how long an audience could watch a 3D movie. And staying with cinema, National Award-winning actor Prakash Raj married his girlfriend choreographer Pony Verma at a private ceremony held in Mumbai. The marriage was attended by family members and close friends of the couple. Prakash Raj and Pony Verma also hosted a reception which was attended by Govinda and Tabu. Prakash Raj won the National Film Award for Best Actor in 2009 for his role in the movie Kanchivaram, directed by Priyadarshan. Pony Verma is a Bollywood choreographer and has made her top actors like Aishwarya Rai Bachchan dance to her tunes. And with that, it's a wrap on this bulletin. Do stay tuned into NDTV Hindu for more news and updates. Thank you for watching.